Now, bearing in mind what you have said, there are some nutritional supplements that stand out, and I've got just three that I'd like to talk about today. First, could you talk to us about magnesium? What is it that we need to know about it, and how could supplements help?
Well, magnesium is one of those nutrients, I think, that, well, it's actually been coined the forgotten nutrient, because I think as pharmacists, certainly when I qualified as a pharmacist, it wasn't I would have heard about, I would have dispensed and I would have heard about the need for iron and calcium, but magnesium didn't really feature as part of my training. And I've spoken to lots of pharmacists for whom that is the same, that magnesium wasn't really a nutrient. And so this term, the forgotten nutrient, is very much applicable to magnesium. When you start to look into the symptoms of magnesium deficiency, because magnesium is needed for, depending on which references you read, over 600 different processes within the body. If you are deficient in it, then obviously it does affect many different systems throughout the body. It affects lots of different processes that are needed. And when you start to drill into what the symptoms are of magnesium deficiency, they affect the whole body. So, for example, in the musculoskeletal system, you can end up with muscle spasms, cramps, neck pain, back pain, neurological symptoms such as migraine, headache, sleep disturbances, vertigo, gastrointestinal system, nausea, constipation, cardiovascular system, arrhythmias, palpitations, hypertension. And in the respiratory system, you can get a worsening of asthma if you're magnesium deficient. And that's just some examples of the types of symptoms that can develop when you're magnesium deficient.
So how and why did it become the forgotten nutrient?
The problem that we have, and I think the reason why magnesium has been a forgotten nutrient, is that you can't measure magnesium very easily with a blood test, because less than 1% of the total body magnesium is in the blood. The rest of that, so 99% of magnesium in the body, is in tissue and in bone. So because it's an intracellular cation, it's predominantly in areas where we can't reach to measure. So we kind of have to consider what the symptoms are of magnesium deficiency. But as I've just shown with that list of example of symptoms, they are quite non-specific. It kind of like the whole body, and often those symptoms are described as medically unexplained symptoms. Some of the symptoms that go, pains and headaches and gastrointestinal disturbances. And if somebody presents with that plethora of symptoms altogether, it's very difficult to try and drill down what might be causing that, because they seem often quite non-specific. So magnesium is something that should, in some scenarios, be given as a supplement. I think we need to increasingly look to symptoms as markers of possible deficiency, and also to consider in the context of modern day diets that are quite deficient in magnesium. The typical Western diet is quite deficient in magnesium, especially if you're eating lots of processed food, and therefore supplements may be relevant in some people.
And what supplements are suitable?
Supplements, there are varieties of different supplements. Some are more bioavailable than others, and where you purchase them over the counter, a general supplement might be magnesium oxide, which has lower bioavailability than some other supplements, which are maybe those that are attached to an amino acid, which may be called chelated magnesium. So that also needs to be considered, that sometimes if you take a supplement, you may not necessarily get the dose that's on packet, depending on which product you're taking.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I remember being taught that all magnesium salts cause diarrhea. So are you saying that we should be recommending magnesium products where the magnesium is bound to amino acids?
Yeah, my training was the same, that magnesium causes diarrhea, and obviously magnesium sulfate, otherwise known as Epsom salts, is actually used as a laxative for that purpose, because magnesium sulfate is an osmotic laxative and causes diarrhea, or can cause diarrhea. So Yes, there are different supplements with different salts, and the prescribable forms of magnesium now that have become available in the UK in recent years tend to be those that are attached to amino acids, and you kind of can quite easily assess, as the patient can quite easily assess on a dose response type basis, that as they increase the dose of the magnesium supplement, you may take, a dose to begin with, there are no gastrointestinal disturbances, and as you increase, there may come a point where you do, but as long as you can sort of tailor the dose to the individual. But those substances, the chelated forms attached to amino acids, seem to have a lower propensity for causing gastrointestinal disturbances.
That's very useful information. From what you said, wouldn't it be okay just to try a magnesium supplement if you've got non-specific symptoms? It seems to me that it couldn't do a lot of harm, and it might make you feel a lot better.
Yes, I think that's a good idea. I think the only people who need to be cautious are those who may have kidney problems or renal dysfunction, but generally magnesium as a supplement, yeah, it's quite safe to take, because you can't orally, it's very difficult to take too much because you just excrete that which is extra. So yes, and I know from having studied nutrition and sort of advised people, I've seen a lot of people, and a lot of people have given me anecdotal feedback that they feel quite different after taking a magnesium supplement, and various symptoms that were previously considered to be unexplained have reduced, diminished, and I have personal experience to the same effect as well.